Hi, Amanda. Are you there? There you are. Hi.
Okay. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. Today was the first day back to school after Thanksgiving break, but it was still a good day.
Good, good. All right. Did you do last week's assignment?
Yes, I did. And I I know where I put the letter, but I went to go open the desk, which is Adam's desk, and I cannot find it. But I remember basically what I said because it was writing, like journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to tell you as much as I wrote. I did two of the things, journaling and writing a letter to my dad for like his funeral.
Okay.
So, um, I'll do the funeral first and then I'll do the journal part.
Okay.
Okay, so for the funeral, I started it out like it was a real eulogy because I did my mom's eulogy. And so that's the only way like I could put pen to paper. And I was like, thank you for all being here. I really appreciate everybody that showed up today. And my dad was such a loving dad. But granted, I didn't say this in the letter, but I'm talking about like my dad before he is now. And I said a couple stories of him, and so he was just always a dad that like showed up
Mm.
and was really loving because I was the first girl in the family on his side. And so I was basically in the letter like recreating all the good memories I have of him. And then I closed it out with I miss you, Dad, and I hope to meet you one day again. But like the old dad, not this dad now. But like when I was ending it, I got really emotional. And because I was like, I'm really saying goodbye to the dad that I remember when I want so badly for that dad to just appear again. And then, like, the journaling to myself, it turned into me basically just beating myself up.
Mm.
Like, how could you be this way? Why would you be this way? You know that you overthink stuff and you create problems within yourself. And then when I got done with it, I was like, I totally just attacked myself. And that wasn't even the mission. I was like, you create your own problems. Like, you're trying so hard to, like, please everybody that not only do you create anxiety for yourself, but you tell people what they want to hear just so you don't have to basically be more independent and say what you need to feel, and you're going to be 40 years old, so you should be able to stand up for yourself and not worry so much, because then you're just creating more problems for yourself. I find myself writing negative stuff.
Yes, that's very normal. I want to tell you, we were raised in a society that shows you how to find what's wrong before it shows you what is right in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a protective mechanism to help us to be able to survive. It's part of human conditioning. I don't think we have to be this way. I think that there are people that grow up in very loving, positive, affirming homes, but I've found that there's a greater majority of people that look for the problems first in order to fix them. Like there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with this place, or there's something wrong with this job, or there's something wrong with this church. And it's not that these things aren't the truth, but many times we go there first. And so all it is a retraining of the brain. It could also be, and this is extremely common with human behavior, when we're feeling emotionally, physically, or mentally drained, any of the three, we go down lower in energy, the energy that we have to be in the day, to, the confidence that we need, the connection we need in ourselves to be able to do everything that you want to accomplish throughout the day. Well, when you're emotionally or physically or mentally drained, your thoughts automatically start going into a lower vibration. And then you
Mhm.
start thinking negative thoughts. The patterns in your brain, the neural pathways that have been set from childhood, will start to pop up in your
Mhm.
brain because you've set neural pathways there, and they're going to tell you, oh, this is what's wrong in your life. I want to come back to the situation with your dad. How did you feel towards your dad after writing that eulogy?
I was almost like, because remember you saying like he's okay as the person he is, you are okay as the person you are. And so then afterwards, I was like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm
Mm,
hard on him. And
mm,
but then I was also like, I'm not I'm not crazy in the scenarios that he's done. Like he has done those things. So is it okay for me to be mad at him? Should I not be mad at him and just be like, whatever, you're cool the way you are, even though that's not how I feel? But he's had moments of being a good dad, but now he's a different person. And so it's just a lot of back and forth. And I mean, I want to say, like, yeah, a relationship would be so easy with him. But then I'm like, how would you even start? And if it's okay how he is as a person, is it actually not okay how I am as a person? Because he, I was like, he's fine how he is, I guess, but I don't feel like he's fine. I want like a person that's not me to be able to say, there's a point with your biological daughter, you got to step up. There's a point with your son that's getting married, you need to step up. You know, it was like a roller coaster of emotions. Because after I wrote it and I was like, I think I need to do another one. I was like, Amanda, you need to do another one because actually you haven't like put it to rest because some of the stuff I wrote just woke up a new beast. It
great
was
awareness. This is going to be a process. Great, great awareness. Actually, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm like, oh, yeah, she didn't put it to sleep. It woke back up. It was like, wait, it's almost like the resurrection. But wait,
mhm,
I'm not really dead. Like,
yeah,
you need to show up. You're not really dead. So
yeah,
show up for us because this is what we need. And
mhm,
it's really interesting because your mind went to judge it again. Am
yeah.
I wrong? Do I need to change? Does he need to change? Well, in you're looking for someone to change, whether it's him or you, what is the feeling you're looking for from one of you changing?
I want to feel the love of a parent and like since I do remember how he was, I want to feel that feeling again like that he really cared, he was compassionate, that I understand how my mom fell in love with him because he was a present person. And I want that dad again, not a dad that's like more concerned with what he has going on and doesn't call. I want him to do what I'm wanting, but I can't force it because he's not a puppet.
Right? Great awareness, Amanda. I love all the processing. When you're feeling some kind of pain or desire from a circumstance in your life that you want to see a change in, would be to step out of the story and look at the feeling and what is happening inside of you and what you want or don't want to happen. So, for example, in the relationship with your dad, as you look in the story, you're thinking, I'm mad because we're not spending enough time with each other and it's making me feel disconnected from you. So I
Mm-hmm.
need you to change. Or maybe I need to change because maybe I'm asking too much of you by these actions. And then when you look at yourself, oh, this is what I'm feeling. He's acting like this, and this is how I feel. Well, it's important at that point to honor your feelings. Once you look at them, see what it is that you're expecting from that other person and remove the attachment from them needing to fulfill that need. Release the person from the pressure of
Mm-hmm.
showing up different than who they are. When you expect someone to just show up different than how they're showing up, there's pressure there. And there's also disappointment because if they don't meet that need, you're going to be disappointed. Well, if
Yeah.
you just own your feelings and detach yourself from that other person being responsible for your feelings, then this is where you take your power back. You are wanting this connection with your dad. When you detach from that expectation coming from him, my dad is not giving me the connection that I think we should have, or that I want us to have, or that we used to have. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
take that hurt and you feel hurt, but you own the feeling as yours. Not that he's the perpetrator and you're the victim, but that when you're around your dad in this circumstance, you feel a certain way. Okay. This way, he doesn't take ownership of your feelings. You take it back. I'm feeling this way. And it's not his responsibility to make you feel connected to him or not connected to him. You're just feeling that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you start taking ownership of that feeling, you can then be sad. You can be honest with yourself. I long for this relationship and I don't have it. You can cry it out. This is how I feel. And then be sad, cry it out. You journal it until you get yourself to a place of emotional regulation.
Mm-hmm.
So, the way to get to emotional regulation is to remove the engagement of attack. Whether you're attacking him for being right or wrong, or you're attacking yourself for being right or wrong. When you start shooting the gun one way or another, you're lost. You're not accepting of yourself or him. And so somebody has to be right or wrong and needs to change. And now you got to figure out how to change them or how to change yourself. That's different than if you step out of the story and you own your feelings and feel sad in the relationship. Through that process, you're going to decide what kind of relationship you may want to have with him. If this is continuous, a conversation you may want to have with him, or some form of just acceptance and change that you would like to give to yourself because you recognize that things are changing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like, after journaling and having the funeral for him, the best thing for me to do is just leave it as it is right now and not force the relationship, even though it's hard because I think about what if he were to actually die tomorrow and this is where it ends. But I can't force him to be something that he's not, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I love that. The fact that you had this relationship with your dad that was so special is a beautiful thing. And to be able to honor that is great. And it makes sense that it would be really hard to just accept it when it's just changed suddenly. You don't even understand it. That
Mm-hmm.
makes total sense where you would feel insecure and resentful or hurt, all of that, because it's like, wait, what happened here? I know you're capable of this and now you're not, right? But here's something I want to offer to you, Amanda. I don't think you need to make a decision right now. I think that you have an opportunity to keep processing these feelings, to find out who Amanda is in this space. Like, I would have another funeral. I would write another eulogy towards the dad that you had the relationship with and honor him again, and then grieve it.
Yeah.
Grieve that part of him. Why do you think it would be important to keep coming back to these places?
Because if it's really not resolved to where like you can really feel 100% peace with it, it's just going to keep on coming up again and coming up again.
Yes. Because if it's not coming from an authentic place inside of you, then you're just changing a behavior and you're playing fake. Those emotions you cannot fake. They're
Yeah.
in your body. So that means the next time you see him, you're going to be triggered. Now watch. This is going to be a great opportunity for you in engaging with your dad because as you work through your feelings, let's say you're not seeing him, but then somewhere a few weeks down the line, you go. Once you're together, you're going to get to see how triggered you are in seeing him. You're going to get to see who Amanda is after she's dealt with some of these emotions. And then from there, you're going to take it back to your journal and keep doing the work and keep
Hmm.
seeing who you are. So there's a process that needs to occur here in order to dig up all of those feelings that you have inside that you've been keeping down or that you've been judging or that
Yeah.
you've been using to attack him or that you've been using to attack yourself. And so we need to just keep going back there a little bit to dig it up, right? To keep accepting Amanda in each of those moments or those feelings and to accept her dad. So if you're journaling and a memory comes up or a pain comes up, accept your feelings. Love
Yeah.
keep going through that flow as we keep releasing all that negative energy and those emotions and then connecting with yourself inside and then the love that's inside towards this relationship and then see what you want to do next. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Okay.
And I will say, like, when I was journaling, I did, I was honest with myself about something. When I'm around him, I find the first emotion I have is anger.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I'm testing him to say the right things
Yeah.
to make me not so angry with him. So I'm also in that moment setting myself up to be disappointed just
Yeah.
again, again, and again.
And if
Right.
they disappoint you, especially if you're wanting them to play this role or they were your person growing up, you're wanting to hold on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Be some holding on to a relationship in a certain manner that maybe it is not worth having that way anymore. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to give you this assignment for your dad. I would love for you to go back into your journaling. You don't have to do a eulogy if you don't want to, but I would like you to journal your feelings towards your dad as just data. I would like you to maybe bring up a memory if it was very painful. And I want you to see the judgment that you're placing on yourself or him. And I want you to release that judgment. And then I'd like you to rewrite that story, removing the judgment from the story. You're just doing data. My dad walked in the door, like literally write it as if you had no emotions, and this is the story. My dad walked through the door. I asked him to come take care of my brother. He didn't take care of my brother. He just sat there. I ended up taking care of my brother, and I felt disappointed. That made me disappointed, and then I reacted to him, then he reacted to me. Then he stormed out of the door. And I felt very sad or alone and afraid. The purpose of this exercise is to start taking moments in this relationship and shifting them in order to release them from the judgment so that we can now separate the judgment and look at the feelings. This is to pull out you in this to find you and the perfect you. That means we're pulling out the judgment of you and him. We want to remove that so we can see what you're really feeling, what you're really wanting at the end of this, and then move forward from that. Another reason this is going to be so important is we want to make sure we acknowledge and validate your feelings
Mm-hmm.
because you've got pain inside of your body, whether you realize it or not, that gets triggered. And it's there and it's affecting your body. We just want to release them. And this is one good way to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm excited for you to do this week. And if you feel like sharing it in our next session, that would be great. If you have any questions or want to share something via text, you can send me a text. Okay.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Have a great week.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.